Writers, yesterday was an exciting day because we have graduated from our notebooks for this unit. In our next writing unit, we will go back to our notebooks to generate ideas, but for this unit, we have graduated from those notebooks with these stories. So we are at a point where we have a story written. Yesterday, the task was to draft start to finish. That was the task. From here on out, we are continuing to raise the level. What are we doing? Raise the level of our narrative writing. These narratives are our personal true stories that we're telling. We already talked about dreaming the dream of the story. We already talked about telling the story from inside it. We talked about how we want to write true events because these are true personal stories. The other day, we also used the narrative writing checklist as a way to say, what am I already doing and how do I need to improve? Today, we're going to ask ourselves, what is my story really about? Pizza. Those of you who stayed with me, thank you. Thank you very much. Today we're asking, what is my story really about? What feeling or what event? And then we're going to write to bring forth that meaning. So you may have heard me say a couple of times over the past couple days, I started introducing the term, what's the heart of your story? That's really what we're talking about today. So in the past, when you've revised or edited a writing piece, you may have added a word here or there, or changed a sentence here or there, or fixed some spelling. And here, that's not how we revise. We revise by thinking deeply about our writing, thinking about the heart of the story. What am I really trying to communicate? And then we rework it. Please don't tap to get my attention. It's okay, it's still running. Then we rework in order to tell the story, to send the message that we want. Hand down, please. So a couple ways to do this. It's not going to make sense yet. One thing we can do is tell the story differently to bring out an important meaning, which means getting rid of some paragraphs and trying to write them a different way. Another thing we could do is start the story earlier or later, a different part of the day, a different part of the story. Another strategy we can do is tell the story out of order. That's something that I'm going to demonstrate today. So watch me as I show you. I'm going to think about my story, and I'm going to try to figure out, what am I really trying to communicate to you? So I know this all seems pretty confusing, so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Let's make this a little bigger. So here's the story that I've been writing. The last concert. So I'm talking about the last time I sang with Vestal Voices. I'm talking about putting on my green robe and singing on the risers. I'm talking about moving through the concert. The first few songs were a blur. And then I start talking about how I'm emotional. So the question I want to ask myself, why did I choose this? Why am I writing about this? Why did I choose this as a topic? And this is something I am asking myself, because I'm the one who wrote it. Why did I choose this? So I'm thinking Vestal Voices was something that was really important to me. It's something that I spent a lot of time in. And as a turning point, it was something that drastically changed in my life when it was over. So it had taught me a lot. So I'm thinking the heart of my story. Why did I write about Vestal Voices? The heart, I'm asking myself this because I'm the author of this story. I think the reason I wrote this story is to talk about change. I think the heart of my story is about how my life changed. So what I want to do is rework this story to bring out the heart. Because I meant to write about change, but I'm not sure I did yet. So I'm going to work on telling it a different way, and I might even tell it out of order. So you may be thinking, but I wrote it already. It's good to go. It's done. I wrote the story. Not true. We are raising the level. So we had a first draft. Now we're going to start raising the level. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go out of order. I really like this paragraph. I put on my green robe one more time. We all wore green choir robes, blah, blah, blah. I was soaking in every moment, every steep. I'm getting onto the risers. What I want to do is, please don't touch that. I want to take this and I want to put it first. That's the first change I want to make. And I just did some quick copy and pasting. Control V, Control C. In order to copy it all, I highlighted it. So now I just changed the order of events. I know that being in this last concert, that's the moment that I'm really talking about. I need that moment to happen in order to talk about how my life is changing. So this is the big moment. Then I go into, I remember the last time I sang with Vestal Voices. I was 18 years old. It was my last year of high school. All my life was a musician. I loved to play piano and I loved to sing. This is starting to talk about change in my life. This is what I was doing already. This is how my life was before. So I need to expand on this and I need to talk about my life after. So I'm actually going to take this. I'm going to get rid of it here. Saying this whole thing is about change. That whole paragraph is just telling me that's my high school life. This is all going, this is my high school life. Here's where I start to talk about the after. I'll never forget the things I learned in Vestal Voices. So I need to talk about what was Vestal Voices like for me. So I'm going to put that paragraph here. So I remember the last time I sang with Vestal Voices. I was 18 years old and it was my last year of high school. All my life I was a musician. I loved to play piano and I loved to sing. I loved standing on the risers with the singers around me. I loved that the singers around me felt like family. I loved the heat of the stage lights. Standing there with Vestal Voices felt like home. I had been home for the past 3 years. I'm going to add a little bit here. What will home look like to me when Vestal Voices is over? So now I'm starting to talk about the change. What is going on with the change? So I'll never forget the things I learned in Vestal Voices. What did I learn in Vestal Voices? So I'm going to have to expand because my life is changing. In this special group, I learned, I'm going to use some of this and then I'll rewrite that last one. I learned how to be a musician. I learned how to be part of something that was much bigger than myself. This feeling is something that carries with me. Notice this still isn't even perfect to me. This is a whole new idea I'm talking about. Guarantee I'm going to change it tomorrow. But anything that I'm thinking, I'm putting it on the page. Because what's the worst thing that happens tomorrow? I delete it and try something else, right? Like, oh no, I have to delete a couple words, so it's okay. So in this special group, I learned how to be a musician. I learned how to be part of something that was bigger than myself. This feeling is something that carries with me even today. I may not be a music teacher, but Vestal Voices taught me music can be a part of my life in any way that I choose. So then I can get rid of some of this stuff. I still want to expand on this because I don't think I'm talking about change enough. I think I've started to touch on it a little bit. So here's what's happening. Here is Vestal Voices. Now I need to talk about here's how my life changed when it ended, or here's how it changed my attitude, my outlook. So I need to make sure I'm clear on that. So as you guys are writing, I'm going to be working on that too. 10-minute timer is about to go off. So that's pretty awesome for today. When you get to your seats, don't be afraid to delete. Don't be afraid to rewrite. What I want you to do, because like I said, I have access to all of your prior versions. So even if you delete something, I can still see what you originally had. So don't panic about deleting. But I want you to go to your story. Remember, we're not changing stories anymore. Today, as you're writing, and every day as you're writing, try to tell the story differently. Tell it a different way. Or start the story earlier or later. Jump to a different part of your story, or try to tell it out of order. Play around with the paragraphs, because as soon as you change the order, you might say, whoa, I really like what I was doing here. I can expand on that. That's my heart. So I want to come around at some point and ask everybody, what is the heart of your story? What are you really trying to say? And then we'll raise the level from there. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to go ahead and write.